This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com/Psychetruth.
Hey y'all, my name is Tessa and I'm going to be working on Nadine today. She was saying that she's been feeling a little bit more stressed lately, like a lot of us. And so I thought it would be really nice to start with something a little more relaxing, some scalp and temple work. And from there, I'm gonna work into the neck a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Always starting scalp, just making sure that I kind of bring my fingers into the hair and the scalp in a way that's not going to pull her hair. It's really important. And I'll just kind of take a minute and going into this massage with intention, not just mechanically, starting the massage. And just starting to do little circles and applying not super hard strokes, but medium pressure. Some people like really light strokes on the scalp. I like to apply a good bit of pressure. Just doing little circles with all of my fingers, trying to cover as much of the scalp as I can. And I don't usually begin my sessions this way unless my client is feeling, just a little more stressed than usual, or they request it. And I've actually had clients request like a full hour of scalp. Some people really love it. And not staying too long in any one place. Just working my way around the scalp. And just doing little circles. I'll do maybe 3 or 4 circles in the same spot and then just shift the placement of my fingers like 1/4 of an inch. And again, just make sure that you're not pulling the hair, because that never feels good. This is a really simple move, but it can feel really nurturing for your client. So you're actually going to bring 2 fingers on the sides of the ear and 2 fingers underneath. And it just feels really good usually. And just applying very light pressure. I bring my fingers up. And this is a great segue into some temple work. So just bringing my fingers onto the temple and starting to apply a little more pressure. Very just tiny circles. You can hardly see my fingers moving. And with the temples, I like to hold maybe 5 or 10 seconds, just doing really small circles. And releasing. I always want to feel like there's healthy movement in a massage. So even when I'm holding, just really paying attention to how things are moving and responding. working my way onto the forehead a little bit. Being careful not to pull Nadine's hair. And with my thumbs, getting in there a little bit, working my way into the temples again. I can even walk my thumbs along the temple and going in with my thumbs again. I'm just going really slow along those temples. And this is a really nice way to start working your way down into the occipitals. So I'm not there yet, but I'm just working my way around the ear. Just kind of going from the forehead right into the neck can feel a little abrupt. So just trying to cultivate a nice flow in my work. And I'm going to get a little bit, actually, no, I'm not going to get lotion yet. So I'm finally going to, I'm actually cupping Nadine's head. So there's some space in my palm, and I'm just making sure that her head is supported as I work on the occipitals a little bit more. So I'm going in with my fingertips, and I'm doing small circles. I'm not able to do super detailed work without turning the head, but I'm just warming everything up. And you don't have to keep cupping the head, but if you want to get in closer towards the center of the neck, then you will have to cup your client's head. And finally, like after doing some circles, you can begin to just hold where you feel tension. But be mindful of how much pressure you're using to start, because it can be pretty intense if someone hasn't had this kind of work done. But to actually work on the occipitals, you have to apply a certain amount of pressure, or else it's going to feel very superficial. Everything's warmed up, so I'm going to go ahead and get in here a little more detailed. And it's actually a lot easier to work on the occipitals when the head is turned. Just exposes everything. And I'm doing little circles. This is the easiest way for me to work on this area of the body. If somebody needs more pressure, sometimes I'll get in there with my thumbs. And always with thumb work, you want to make sure that your thumb is as straight as possible. You don't want to put too much pressure on the thumb joint. It can be kind of difficult sometimes, but sometimes just shifting your where you're working from can make a huge difference in feeling more comfortable as you work. Moving to the side of the table really helps. And just doing a few more little circles. From there, I'm going to start to get into the sides of the neck a little bit, that upper trap a little bit, in the shoulder. applying lotion or oil on one side, it's really important that you make sure that your client's head is supported with the opposite forearm or hand, or else the head can feel a little floppy, and that's not really that comfortable for your client. And just working my way up, getting into the suboccipitals a little bit more, can carry a lot of tension. And just listening to how the muscles are responding, kind of gauging if I need to use more or less pressure. I'll usually start working the neck by strokes upward, and then I'll start to work down and up a little more. This is a great way to start to work into the scalenes a little bit. I'm actually using all three of my fingers to get into these muscles a little more. And it tends to get really tender the farther down you go on the neck, so just being mindful of kind of shifting my pressure as I glide along the neck. It's a lot easier for me to work on the back side of the neck using upward motions. And starting as low as I can. And I think we're ready for the opposite side. Have a little lotion left over. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And just like on the right side, doing little circles along the hairline. Getting into these occipitals a little more. And again, to access the occipitals, you do need to apply a certain amount of pressure, or else you're just going to be working very, very superficially. But of course, just, talk to your client or friend and see how it's feeling. Was that pressure okay? Nice. To start this work with my thumb, I'm going to shift where the angle I'm working from. And honestly, as a therapist, I find this approach to be a little more difficult than just working with my fingertips. But it's really nice if you want to pinpoint some spots that feel extra tight. And just gauging how I'm feeling, how is my posture as I work. I'm starting to kind of roll my shoulders a little too much. So, just taking a breath. And I think we are ready to get into the scalenes a little bit. The upper trap a little bit. And some therapists like to work in a much drier way, meaning you use little to no lotion. If you're wanting to stimulate the fascial tissue, then that's a great way to do it. I don't typically work with that approach, but something to keep in mind. I'm going to go ahead and get a little more lotion. Nadine's head is cradled and supported as I apply that lotion. And I really like these upward strokes behind the neck. I feel like I can access the muscles back there much easier. And starting with those downward strokes, getting into these scalings. And just listening to how everything's responding. And if I find a spot that feels a little more bound up, spending a little more time there. And sometimes I'll do trigger point in the neck with my thumb. I'm not going to do that today. Just going to keep working a more fluid way. This upward motion is just a great way to work the suboccipitals in a really efficient way. I don't feel like I'm overextending my body, and I also feel like it's just the best way to really get some movement in there. Just wrapping up that work on the left side, and it's a really nice way to end the neck work with sweeping up along both sides. And I'm going to do just a really gentle stretch for the neck. So you want to bend your fingers a little bit, and it's kind of like you're forming a claw with your hands. And then you're just gonna shake, not too vigorously. A really nice stretch for the neck. But let your client's head rest on the table. You're not trying to give a neck adjustment, you're just stretching out the neck a little bit. And I think we'll just go ahead and end how we started. So a little more scalp massage to finish this session. Always nice to end with something a little more relaxing after doing that occipital work. Can be a little uncomfortable, but really helpful for people. It's really nice to visit the forehead after that occipital work as well. I'm definitely connected. If you have someone that's complaining of headaches, working on the occipitals is definitely the way to go. And just ending on the temples. Go ahead and walk my thumbs out. Just moving my thumbs down really slow. And that is all for this session. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Many of our subscribers don't see our videos. Make sure that you click the notification bell. And if you haven't already, follow us on social media for tips, tutorials, giveaways, and daily inspiration.
We have over 1,000 videos on Psychetruthpatrons.com, including our premium massage series, extended fashion haul modeling, ASMR massage and back tickling, behind the scenes, and more. Visit Psychetruthpatrons.com today. Our Patreon supporters also gain automatic access to PsychetruthPatrons.com with new exclusive videos each week and over 1,000 videos available now. Click the Patreon symbol in the middle of the screen.